Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sanchi, and on behalf of Shine.com, I welcome you all to Shine Talent Speaks. Shine Talent Speaks is a podcast series where HR leaders will get a chance to openly share their views on a trending topic that will matter to the HR community. To make it even more enjoyable, we have kept some amazing prizes for the most downloaded podcast. Now, I would like to introduce our panelists today. Mr. Majid Khan, AVP and TA Head, India and Poland. Next, OPS, Digital Risk and EUC, Emphasis. Mr. Venkatesh Neelam, Principal Talent Advisor at Atlassian. Now, I would like to introduce the topic for today's discussion. Both the speakers will get 10 minutes each to express their views. The topic for the first ever Shine Talent Speaks is Recruitment and Selection Strategies for a Modern Workforce. So, any of you can start.
Yeah, Majid, you can go first. I'll go later. It's fine.
Sure. Thank you so much. So, Sachi, something which is very prominent today is that the war for talent is real, and all of us have been talking about it for many years, right? However, it was limited only to the talent acquisition fraternity or the recruitment fraternity, and people within this fraternity, they understood and they did whatever was required for them to attract talent, and then they also worked together with other people responsible in different departments to retain talent. However, today it is understood by each and every person associated with different setups within different industries, different sectors, etc. And it is very important now to understand how do we build our own strategies to ensure that the talent attraction plus retention becomes a very, very important affair for any organization for that matter. So in today's context, today the talent possibly feels that it is the right time for the talent to get into an organization which would value him or her, and value cannot just be measured in terms of money. So today people are more concerned about the overall well-beings for themselves, their near and dear ones, and some of these things can't just be bought by money. So if at all organizations have to attract talent, in my opinion, they will have to ensure that the talent gets all the possible support that it would require in terms of being able to produce the right kind of outcomes that the organization would expect through their talent. At the same time, the talent finds the job really enriching. Along with that, the talent also has to ensure that the talent is able to meet its priorities, keeping in mind the life and the work balance. It is only fair for everybody to understand that when human beings are alive, that's when they will be able to work. So life comes before work, and that is why life and work balance. And keeping all of these in mind, the organizations will have to decide at different point in time whether they would buy talent, they would build talent, or they would borrow talent. And at the same time, if at all there is a need for them to look at rotations, enhancement of skills within the given organization, some of these things will become very, very critical. So that's my submission in terms of, a holistic view that any organization in the industry should be taking today.
Mr. Venkatesh, would you like to continue?
Yes. Thanks, Majid. That's a great thought, and the kind of overview completely on the same. Just from my point of view, that I agree with you a lot of things. I was able to say a few things as well. So today world, if we talk about, I'll just took some journey back. So talent acquisition is kind of looking back to see, and earlier it was kind of more like traditional internet kind of things. Right now we move to social media and some of the connected internet recruitment and things. But future we're going towards to AI recruitment, because the kind of the talent pool in today industry, it's kind of huge. At the same time, the competition become too high. So finding a talent and between what the companies, it's kind of really tough challenge, especially to the current situation. See, uh, what actually employers are trying to do to the industry, that they're trying to keep culture and values in front seat and showcase some benefits in front seat, and what is that product or services we're going to do it for future for society. So they're showcasing these three in well advanced to all this target talent pool, and trying to create awareness between the companies and employment employers. So what happens when employers are trying to create the awareness, at the same time employees also has to build that kind of a sensitiveness between both employee and employers. So when we both know each other very well, connected each other, so then the kind of what and who wins what. So that's where the industry lot slightly moving towards that. So company employers are trying to put across to their culture, values, and what services they provide, product they provide, the future for society, and how they're trending towards that. If you ask me today, the engineering companies, every company might be finding for same talent, and very difficult to find what kind of expectation they have in mind. So it's, if we go for employee side, although I might have good skills, but what the best company I have to choose for that. So there are multiple options, but who will give me little kind of security for my society and the kind of well-being things. So it's not about only the work what we deliver; it's about my life, what is going to go for that. So that's why you see a lot of companies working about the well-being things and work-life balance. So how the employee can able to grow in career paths. So they're really focusing on both vice versa. At the same time, employees has to think little broader side. It's not about that company has doing something that I'm going to do some kind of work for them. It's not about that what can bring value to the company for the society say. So that's where the employee has to think about that manner. Then actually the employer is also thinking very broadly that how actually enhance this talent a bit of the market. So that is the one first point I want to talk about that. Again, if you see that if you talk about employer side, most of the companies are trying to work on the inbound hiring. It's not that I'm going to the market when I have a position. So I'm going to the market that I try to see what talent I have in place in the market, and who really can come to my the place what I'm working in, and bring something for the features for them. So that's where every company trying to engage the target audience such a way that it's not about today position, it's about tomorrow position. So how I'm going to win the race for tomorrow, that will be kind of sense for most of the companies. Yeah, I understand some of service companies they can't afford that, but if you talk about any kind of product companies, they're really trying to engage the entire target pool and see what they can join with us tomorrow. As an example, like I'm the candidate, I'm looking for job change. This company name has to come first. That's where every company thinking that how do you actually build that kind of sense or agency at the kind of product value to the market, so that the top talent pool can come and join with me to build this product in bigger and bigger way. So that's the one of the biggest thing. And again, I'm talking a lot of to starting from Gen Z or kind of from different source of in. So actually they've always looked at okay, I have some skill, I want to build something that. So what I can do for tomorrow for myself, so that they are thinking about themselves also, putting access to wearing their shoes. So when I talk to a lot of E schools and B school students, they really come up with brilliant ideas that today some company doing some X job. So if I'm going to there, I can do X plus one, X plus two. So new versions of this file coming out. That's really a great thought in the Indian society and the global market as well. So as a kind of every company has to look for those kind of aspects to see, and we can add more value there. But if you see industry moving again, we have to move across that. So we that's why we're talking about the AI in place, and the ML is coming. A lot of new tools came in place. I can give some other examples like right now some tools in market. If I want to give some kind of size that they're going to pull out entire market and tell that this is the top 30 candidates mates for your requirement, like job descriptions and everything that. So that's where the kind of the AI plays in such a way that the entire market is kind of thinking. So here you need to understand every kind of candidate or any employee side and all. So you have to come out with certain kind of things and where these kind of tools are really going to find talent. So when we are trying to find talent where actually they're available, at the same time employees and the kind of who want to go for job also, they have to build a personal brand. So because suppose I'm going to buy some kind of things XYZ, So by default, I go and search that who comes top 10, top 20. I'll try to see who's the best and go and choose for them. Similar way, when talent was going to come in, so you need to understand that what kind of things you can build for yourself and bring that kind of awareness about you. Actually, recently I'm talking to one of the colleagues that and thinks that, okay, I'm looking for doctors nearby my places. I'm just one example this way. So these doctors, when I give a search in Google, got some kind of different company names. We can talk about that. So I got 10 doctors, but one doctor name I feel that I know this doctor somewhere. So this kind of some kind of belongingness, some kind of knowing each other personality. By default, among all also might have some different skill set, the same skill set, but I would like to go with doctor to just come and visit me. So that kind of trust, where this trust comes because of awareness, what this person done in past and what is going to do it. Similar way, actually, in case the both employer side, the current trend moving on, both has to create that awareness that this is what I'm going to offer, both side employee and employer side, and who can really can fit that area. So that's where the kind of moving to an industry. So employers are investing in similar way, and we have to try and find out that. Top suggestion I want to give to the both side, time, efforts, and money. So who are going to minimize these things, both the employee side. Okay, I have an idea, I have a thought. I'm going to minimize time for today. What I'm going to, example, I'm going to reach one place to other place and some things, some kind of, let's say responsive times. I'm going to get response within 30 seconds. No, I'm going to make it 20 seconds. So that's where people are looking into time, efficiency, or cost. How am I going to minimize these things? So that's where both employee and employer are going to be difference on that. So who are thinking about this kind of both recruitment strategy side, or who are thinking about employee side, so they are thinking about both vice versa, they'll make cut for this. So this is my top lines and talk about that.
So I would like to ask that question to both of you. Like Mr. Venkatesh just mentioned that AI and ML have come into view and everyone is trying to take advantage of it. But in terms of HR, like he just mentioned that and ML tools help you find top candidates which are available. So do you really think it will be an advantage in long term, or will it have some disadvantages as well?
So Sachi, some of these things definitely are there because these things become useful. The question is how useful these things are, right? To what extent? See, I'll tell you, any kind of technology that you may apply to assess the skills of the talent pool, many a times it would work as an eliminator to weed out the wrong ones, right? You will still have to go ahead and talk to the individual to understand the individual better, to understand the reasons why that individual would want to join your organization, to understand the body language of that individual, to understand whether or not that individual meets your cultural requirements. So I think tools and technologies definitely would be helpful, and AI and ML based platforms which have come in are helping everybody to kind of minimize conducting larger number of interviews, which generally becomes a humongous task. So what it does is that it kind of filters out people who are not really in line with the requirement, and then you have a smaller pool to assess, and that is where you can devote the required amount of time for you to find the right fit for the job that you have. Let me also remind ourselves of the fact that whatever we do in these 45 minutes, 30 minutes of personal interview which takes place between the hiring managers and the applicants, it, these discussions are not enough, right? The time that you spend with these individuals are not enough for you to gauge the person completely in and out. You eventually end up taking a leap of faith, right? So you would get the resource on board, you would ensure that you have all the type of facilities in place, provisions in place for the resource to learn and get equipped to produce for you, right? So anything that you do at the hiring stage is never 100% up to the mark, and that is why it is important for organizations to have, some sort of provision in place for the employers to nurture the talent after the talent comes on board, for the talent to kind of get glued to the kind of work environment the talent would operate in, so that the talent is able to produce the right kind of outcome that you would expect through that talent. And keeping in mind the kind of attitude that the given talent brings, you actually can decide whether or not you should proceed with the concerned person, or you should drop the candidature of the concerned person. So tools and technologies are at one side. On the other side, definitely you will have to have a human intervention for you to kind of take a judgment which is going to prove beneficial for you in the future. So that's my way of looking at it, Sachi. Thank you.
Mr.
Yeah,
Venkatesh?
I think I'll align with the same with Majid as well, because HSR has to be personalized. No one can replace that, any tool, technology, or AI like that. No one can replace the personalization of the both HR and the person who's going to come in. But here, why we're talking about a lot of tools and tech in place in every company, because it's going to minimize time and going to sensitize the experience part. Example, let's say, most of the companies, every day we get some thousands of candidates for the inbound applications. People go and apply just like positions, right? Everyone expect to find response from the company. If again, we can't have hundreds of recruiters sitting there and respond to each and every candidate personalized, it's very, very highly difficult thing. So that's where we have a lot of tools in place, taking place, so that we can able to understand who can be fit my position, not. And again, same time, I don't want to lose the candidate who not fit. So we have to engage those audience as well. That's where we have to personalize those kind of communication channels to all the candidates who really come to me, because they are potential employer for tomorrow. So I want to engage them in such a way that they should not feel that, okay, I'm not fit for today, but my company got a response that they're saying for not for today, but someone tomorrow. But what is happening around the company? So they're trying to create some kind of culture, expand them, awareness part. So that kind of things, engagement part, the tools are really helping us. At the same time, I can talk about a few things that, example, I'm looking for a marketing personality. So what happens is AI tools are going to bring that, someone really kind of like, say, kind of introvert who really not can't stand, but they can do work well. But they're not fit for the marketing job because they can't express themselves well. So there are kind of personality mismatches most of the interview process. Because most of the interview process are, it happen half an hour or 1 hour kind of discussions, may go through some 3-4 discussions. But we cannot understand the entire the personality wise how this really works. So that's where these tools are going to understand that we have some of the tools in place who will understand entire the personality and the based on social media history back, last 10 years, 20 years history back, what really person look like, think like, and what he likes, what he likes. So what happened, all these kind of inputs give us some kind of, the property of, the kind of, understanding of the personality side. So we can able to make best judgments than what kind of, just go with some kind of information, because we are in a data driven world. So anything required to, we have to some kind of proof and some process around that. So the tools are helping to make that process around and create the great experience to candidates. And at the same time, the entire employee life cycle side, we can't just leave the people, because in virtual world, I think after the COVID, we are not meeting in person. We had a lot of things happen virtually. So that's where we have a lot of data points to understand what works well, what won't well. That's the reason these AI tools are really helping us in longer run. But same time, no one can replace the kind of the HR personalization part. So every HR has to be personalized and that has to be connected. But the tools are helping us to personalize better when experience give more and more.
Thank you for your thoughts. It was a good discussion, and I loved hearing your thoughts. If you would like to share any concluding thoughts.
Sure, Sachi. Thank you so much. So, Sachi, see, it is very important for us to understand that uh, people in any organization, okay, they have got a purpose in life, right? The way organizations have got their visions, missions, objectives, etc. Similarly, individuals who join any organization or who apply for a job in any organization, they also carry certain sense of purpose in life. And that is very important for any organization to understand, right? uh, we have got beautiful systems which we call as our ATS. There are a lot of other integrations which have taken place with our ATSs and certain talent skill verification related platforms through AI, ML, and various other things, right? However, some of these things don't really help us to understand the purpose why somebody is applying for a job. And that is where today most of the organizations are grappling with a problem, which is about people taking up offers and not being able to join those organizations, right? At the same time, existing people leaving the organization and moving out, right? 2021 is also being called as the great year for resignation, right? So some of these things are happening, and there are reasons around it, right? And each and every individual has got his or her own reason for doing whatever he or she is doing. And we can't really generalize things. We definitely have certain standard inferences, certain set patterns, but still those things are not enough for us to compare with different individuals, because each and every individual is unique, right? And Venki spoke about experience. So if at all we are thinking about giving a good experience to our applicants, maybe today they are not fit for the job that we have. Tomorrow they can definitely apply for another job and might be the right fit. So experience is very, very important. And for us to give that right kind of experience to anybody, it is important to understand the purpose of somebody applying for a job or sticking around with an organization for performing his or her job related duties. And this purpose is linked to certain goals and milestones that people have kept for their professional career. People would want to make a career. People would want to attain certain positions in certain time period. People would want to do XYZ type of stuffs depending upon the knowledge and skills that they bring on the table. And knowing that becomes very, very critical, right? If we don't know that, if we don't know why somebody is applying for a job with us, right, and we make an offer, this person might be left clueless, because it has to be a symbiotic relationship where both the employers and employees, they understand each other, and they are able to kind of come to a middle ground where this relationship works in the favor of both the parties. So I think a lot has to be done in terms of laying down the emphasis on purpose of somebody either applying for a job or somebody going to continue doing the job that he or she is doing. And if the organizations are able to find that, I'm sure they will do the right kind of things for them to meet the expectations that the talent market has got or the talent has got. That's my way of looking at it, Sachi. Thank you.
Yeah, I think most of the things are covered. Just a few points to just before the closing thing. Today, the most strategies comes that yes, it's not about that people has talent. It's not about companies looking for talent. It's about that how do we know each other better. So that's kind of biggest things we are doing it, both employees side. So that's where start and think about differently and what we can do differently on the employee side. And again, that I'm going to talk about my culture. I'm going to talk about things what happen. So the bossism those days are gone, and more like we're talking about leaders today and who can able to empower and enhance people. At the same time, if just you are okay thing, it won't work for today. You has to be like good and great or something wow factor. So both sides are looking for. Some companies are really good but not great. So they got offer from great company and go for that, not for good company. Same thing, the candidates also, some are really doing good, but they're not actually great. So understand that what is actually really factors that driven this kind of good versus great versus wow factor. So that's where do a lot of research in case you're applying some companies and understand the interview process, understand the process driven that. So expectations about these companies to fall in place. Is a real talking about culture company, real talking about tech company, real talking about some XYZ. So understand their needs in advance and try to place yourself that how are you going to minimize the time, efforts, and cost, or are you going to how are you going to build that kind of organizations together. Same thing that if you see the employer side, see that entire funnel, what you can. People are spending almost 80% of time doing this entire the awareness marketing, or creating that kind of sense that okay, we have a great company, we have great culture, we have great things we're doing for future. Why don't you come and join with us? To send this message to the right audience is taking a lot of time. So focus more there. Automatically, your pool will come back. Use a lot of tool and tech plays and respond to each and every person right time, and create that work and experience factor. That's where because right now, if you ask me, most of the companies are facing 50% kind of offer declines. It's not about that companies not doing great. It's about that experiences sometimes really not lacking that. So create that great experience. By default, the your entire selection process will be great.
Thank you. It was a great discussion. Thank you for joining us and sharing your views. This is Sanchi signing off. I'll be sharing all the questions with you so that you can answer those also.
Sure,
Sure,
son.
Sanjay. Thank you so much. Pleasure is all ours, and lovely talking to you, Venki and Sachi.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Majid. Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.